I have in particular one patient that when she gets GMO corn or soy, she breaks out in full body wide hives and has to go to the ER.
And regular corn or soy is okay?
If it's not genetically modified, she's okay with it. And so there's a component in there that she's not able to tolerate.
And this is something that was introduced in the genetic modification probably?
Yes, exactly. So that's how they do it, is they splice different things in there, and this is not my area of expertise, but yes, it's been modified, and they're doing it to try to increase crop yield. But Monsanto, there was a good New York Times article in October of just 2016 that showed that indeed they're not increasing crop yield and they're using a lot more pesticides.
Now, is it possible for somebody who is sensitive to these items to stay clear of them, or is it difficult to do that?
It's very difficult. And the people who are sensitive are these canary in the coal mine. So someone who may have autism, and it really comes down to genetics, and they very likely have just different gene mutations where their body's not able to clear things. So that's why you and I may be just fine, and someone else may have an issue, and it's because just in their cells they're not dealing with it well. So there's no way really that you can avoid it by going out to eat. There's one restaurant I know of in town who takes great detail to not have GMO foods, and that's it. So they have to cook everything basically at home, and it's a danger for them to eat out.
Now, could this be done better, or this should just be stopped entirely?
It should be stopped entirely. And what I really appreciate is at a couple of Pima County Board of Supervisor meetings ago, there was someone who stood up and said, you know, if Missouri is suing Monsanto and Washington is suing Monsanto, can you just get on the phone and ask them why? The reason is they wreak havoc on the area that they work in, and then they leave, so that soil is no longer able to be used, plus the insects around that area are no longer living. So then pollination is difficult. And so I don't think they should be here at all. If there are, I can't find the exact source, it's between 26 and 36 whole countries that have banned either GMO use or Monsanto. And I don't know why in Pima County it's all right, but this should be a big clue. If people are suing this company and there are countries who won't allow them, why do we want them here?
Is the issue as much the GMOs or pesticides associated?
You know, it's both, and I think depending on how sensitive someone is, I would say right now the biggest issue is air quality surrounding, especially since there's a school near where the proposed site is, and so that's more just whatever they're spraying, because obviously what's in the food, I don't know that would affect the residents around there, so it would be mostly the pesticides, at least, that I'm personally worried about now. There is an expert in town, and Melissa Diane Smith literally wrote a book on it, and so she's the expert.
Now, Monsanto says it's going to hold to even if the tax deal doesn't go through, because they've backed out of that.
Yes.
They said they're still going to offer this community forum and some of the financial benefits, despite all of that. Do you take some encouragement from their stated goal of being a little more open?
Well, when someone has lied to communities numerous times and not been a good neighbor, I don't see why they would be now. So that's, for me, just a common sense. I just think it's placating the public, and it's trying to appease them. And their data is different than independent data. And so there's a great article in the Townsend letter called, just if you Google Townsend letter Monsanto, that talks about sealed documents, that they've known the dangers and increased cancer risk and problems with fertility and neurological diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and so they've known, and they're not sharing that information. So no, it doesn't make me feel better at all.
So one of the things that's challenging for us is
Sure.
There are such firm contradictions going on out here. You know, you're citing certain studies, other people cite other studies. There's such a tug of war in the data that we don't really know what's neutral and what to trust.
Yeah, so I'll give this to you guys. You can take it home. You can decide. This is literally, I mean, it's an MIT researcher. They are looking at data from Monsanto that Monsanto didn't publicize.
So how did they get it?
I don't know. I don't know how they got it. But there are leading researchers. It's not just cutting edge people or conspiracy theorists. And big companies that are multi-billion-dollar companies have money to do research. And as any person in science knows, you can make a study look just like you want it to by excluding certain subjects or certain things that you find during the study. So I just look at their track record, and it hasn't been good. And there are so many, like I said, cities, counties, and 2 states that I know of suing them. And again, if we think they're going to change their tune here, I don't know why someone would think that.
I think that's probably going to do it because
Cool.
we are so challenged towards the
Sure,
end of
I hear
time.
you.
But is there anything you feel like you want to add?
I mean, I think I said it. I just think common sense. And again, if whole countries have done their research and they don't want them here, why does our county think it's okay? And so I don't believe anyone has gotten on the phone with other cities and counties that have banned them and said, why is it? What research did you do? So I don't know why we think it's going to be okay here.
The county's basically saying at this stage their only leverage is zoning law, and zoning law allows it.
I hear that. I mean, I know that all of the people that are involved, this momentum is growing big, and they will be a huge thorn in their side. I guess the other thing actually I want to say that's really important is we are a UNESCO designated city of gastronomy, and the only one in the United States. Part of that is because of our clean air and that we don't have a big company like Monsanto here. And so I worry that could be taken away. Plus, we have a lot of organic farmers here. And so you may know, but literally there have been farmers who have been sued by Monsanto because Monsanto says, oh, you took our seeds. And the farmer says, I can't help that the air has blown your pollen over. And so they're really putting a patent on food, and it's all money. It's all based on money. And so my concern is that the people who are trying to keep food as it was meant to grow out of this earth pure and clean, that they may then be compromised because some of the Monsanto dust will blow over. Plus, it's 155 acres, 7 of that for a greenhouse. Corn isn't usually grown in a greenhouse. And so what are they doing with the rest of the land? I think there's something that we don't know.